Good day, everybody. It's been a minute, as they say. It's been quite a while since I've uploaded a video. Just wanted to do a quick one. Bit of an update on what's been happening with me. So I had a good Christmas, good New Year's. It's been a while. I think last time I uploaded was like October or something. Could have been longer than that. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, things have been going well. Hasn't been an ammunition in a while, and the reason for that is that Irving Twin and myself, we've kind of lost our joie de politique. In case you haven't known, you probably didn't know, I've been going to church. I've found faith again. I know I was talking about finding faith for a while and leaning towards that, but yeah, I've been going to church every Sunday for the last little bit. In the new year, I'll be baptized, which will be nice. And don't worry, this isn't going to become a Christian channel, although I might refer to my faith here and there. But I think Twin and I might switch the ammunition to be a gaming stream. So like tabletop TTRPG only, though we'll be playing it online. We're doing some online TTRPG stuff. I bought the Shadowdark rules ages ago, like a long time ago, probably when they first came out. I ordered the Shadowdark rules from the Arcane Library, and I backed the Western Reaches Kickstarter and expect to get all that stuff soon. So I'm thinking of starting a Shadowdark campaign, which I think would be fun, because I'll be honest, I love D&D. I love the old fantasy RPG stuff, and I was playing Deathbringer for a while, but for me Deathbringer is just a little too low magic. I like some magic in my games, and it's also a little bit too gritty grimdark, where Shadowdark I think is a nice mix of, high adventure and dangerous dungeon delving, so that's the plan. I'm going to run a Shadowdark campaign. But I've had some ideas on how I want to change things up, and I've thought this for a while, but I've never really put it into practice. The idea of ancestry-based hit dice. Now, I'm probably not the first person to think about this, but it's always struck me as kind of odd that if you had a half orc, 6 foot tall guy who happened to be a wizard, that for some reason the fact that he's a half orc changes his survivability. Max hit points he could have would be 4, maybe 5 or 6 if he had a good con. But meanwhile, a halfling fighter could have upwards of 12 hit points. 1/3 his size, but he has 12 hit points because he happened to choose the fighter profession. I don't think profession should play that much into it. As a matter of fact, I think when you've got a world where you've got all these disparate races with clearly different evolutionary paths and different phenotypes, I think that what am I doing? Sorry. I think that should play into it a little bit more. I'm like stopping at a green light because I'm a fool. I don't know why. I think the person in front of me put on their brakes and then changed lanes, so I thought, I gotta stop. Anyway, so yeah, so ancestry-based hit dice, I think, are the way to go. So for my Shadowdark campaign, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it so depending on what race you choose or ancestry you choose, that'll determine your hit die. Now your class will still determine things like all your other abilities, like what your primary prerequisite stats are and that kind of stuff. Although in Shadowdark, I don't think there are prerequisite stats. But yeah, so for instance, half orcs. All half-orcs, regardless of your class, will have a D10. Humans, dwarves, will have a D8. They just seem to be, a little bit more sturdy than some of the other folk. Elves will have a D6, and then goblins and halflings will have a D4. I think that makes more sense. Goblins and halflings are tiny little creatures. They're like 3 feet tall, and wispy little, almost fey folk. So they shouldn't have as many hit points as a half-orc, unless they roll incredibly well and the half-orc rolls incredibly poorly. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of that idea. I think it's a good idea. I don't think I'm the first person to come up with it, but I've never I've never heard anybody else articulate it before or seen anything else about it, but I'm probably not alone. Also, max hit points at first level, of course, plus con modifier. And then instead of just straight 3d6 down the stat block, I think what I'll do is I'll let the players choose 2 stats in which they can roll 4d6 and drop the lowest. That way, if you've got your heart set on playing a specific class, like a thief or whatever, you got a better chance of getting those stats that you need for that class. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Also, I saw something online about using a doom clock. I think it's called the doom clock for random encounters. So rather than just rolling a 1d6 and if you get a 1, you get an encounter. Instead, have a tracker that starts at 20, and every time you enter a new hex, or every few hours in a given hex, depending on the level of safety in that hex. So in Shadowdark, basically, areas are considered safe, unsafe, risky, and dangerous or deadly. So when you're rolling on a hex map, every time you enter a hex, or you create a hex in like a homebrew campaign, you're supposed to determine at the outset what the danger level is or the threat level is in that hex. For me, I'm going to have the players roll when they enter a hex, and if it's unsafe, they'll roll a d6. If it's risky, they'll roll a d8, and if it's deadly, they'll roll a d10. And then whatever the result is, that gets subtracted from the doom tower, or the doom clock, which is 20. And if they're in a safe zone, they roll a d4. So they're on a road, a well-established road with lots of traffic, that'll be a d4. Doesn't mean they're not going to have an encounter while they're in that area, but it's less likely, and it's definitely less likely to be a threat, right? So yeah, once the d20, once the doom tower gets down to 0, they'll have an encounter. So they've got a ready sort of they've got an idea of when doom is coming or when the encounter is coming, which can make it that much more, I guess, tense at the table. So yeah, these are my plans. So yeah, ancestry based hit dice, doom clock for encounters, and on 2 of your stats you'll roll 4d6, drop the lowest, and that'll be your stat. It'll make characters much more survivable, I think. I mean, in Shadowdark they are pretty survivable, except at first level they're pretty squishy. But once they go up in levels, they start getting increases to stats. The dwarves, they gain advantage on their hit die rolls every level, which is nice. So that'll stay for the dwarves, except their hit die will be a d6 as opposed to a d, determined by their class. Anyway, folks, these are my ideas. Let me know what you think. And I hope you'll stick around with this channel being transitioned to a more gaming-focused channel. Yeah, like I said, Twin and I, we just sort of lost our joie de politique. Maybe it's because we won, our guy got into office. The neoliberal world order is collapsing before our eyes. I mean, it doesn't make it any less exciting, but we're just, we're tired of talking about it. And we're tired of engaging in it. It's just, maybe it's because the world's so divided, there's just no point in talking about it. We're not going to convince anybody who isn't already convinced of our particular point of view. But yeah, so gaming, that's what we're going to concentrate on. And don't be surprised if a little bit of political innuendo is peppered in here and there when we're gaming. Make no mistake, that is sure to happen, because despite us not wanting to engage in political rhetoric overtly, it's still in our minds. It's still, we're still aware of what's happening in the world around us. Anyway, folks, I hope you all had a great New Year. I hope you all stick around. I apologize for the delay in uploading stuff, but yeah, this channel, myself, just going through a bit of a life change. So stick around. I'll be putting some gaming stuff up. If I can get Twin to commit to doing an Ammunition stream every week, I'd love to do it every week. He and Pox and I and anybody else, maybe Terry, Terry D might be interested in joining and gaming with us. But we'll see. We'll see if we can get another player to join and game with us. But yeah, if you're in the audience and you're interested in doing a weekly online Shadowdark game, hit me up, leave a comment, and I'll reach out to you. Anyway, folks, that's all I got to say now. Trinity's probably going to start barking any second now, so I'm going to end it here. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.